Looks it.
Okay, hello, Mayor. We are now on the May 11th legislative session of the Town Council, 8 p.m. And I'll turn it over to you. We have a quorum.
Good evening, everybody. Adequate notice of this meeting, as required by the Open Public Meetings Act, was provided through the posting, mailing, and filing of the annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings of the Town Council on December 11, 2020. The notice was on that date posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, provided to the Westfield Leader in the Star Ledger, and filed with the clerk of the town of Westfield. Mrs. Rowley, may I have a roll call?
Mayor Brindle,
Here.
council members Hapgood,
Here.
Parmalee,
Here.
Regrippo,
Here.
Katz,
Here.
Mackey,
Here.
Contract,
Here.
Dardia,
Here.
and Boyce.
Here.
Can you please join me and stand for a salute to the flag? I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to
to
the
the
flag
flag of
of
the
the
United States
of
of
America
And
And
to
to the
the
republic for which it
for which
stands,
it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
with liberty and justice for all.
for all. Thank you. So Jim, want to hand it off to you?
Thank you, Mayor. I did a very short update. I know you have a lot to cover tonight. I really want to mention one thing, and that is last meeting, we had word from the county that they would be starting the Lamberts Mill Railway traffic light installation on May 24th, the week of that. They have sped that process up. They actually started yesterday, May 10th. So they're doing underground work and surface work out there. So the Lamberts Mill Railway light started May 10th. No date yet on when the underground work will be starting on the West Broad Scotch Plains, but good news that the process has been sped up and that work started yesterday. So there are some intermittent and some road closures for a few days over, actually the road closures actually in Clark before you get to Westfield for a couple days. And then they'll be doing some intermittent closures as they do underground trenching for wires. But good news is that project started early, and then once we know more about the West Broad Scotch Plains, we'll let you know. But happy to report that that started early. So I'll pass it off to you because you have a lot to cover.
That's great. Thank you, Jim. Good evening, everyone. And thanks for joining us virtually tonight. Please remember that public comment will only be accepted via Zoom, although we are live streaming this on Facebook for viewing only. And the replay is always available afterwards on Facebook, YouTube, and TV 36. So things may look a little different at this meeting. We are traveling back in time at the request of the Historic Preservation Commission to celebrate National Preservation Month. I'm speaking to you in front of the building on Prospect Street that functioned as Westfield's Town Hall and Police Headquarters from 1910 until the new municipal building was erected in its current location in 1954. I would like to thank the Historic Preservation Commission, the Archives of the Westfield Historical Society, and Dr. Stanley Lipson, with the big assist I know from Jenny Jarzowski, for providing us with these wonderful Zoom backdrops. You'll be hearing from everyone else about their backdrops a little later before we get into the agenda for the meeting. So for an update, as Jim mentioned, there is a lot going on. So first, I'll just touch on some COVID information. As you should know by now, Governor Murphy recently announced the state will lift many of its major COVID-19 capacity restrictions on May 19th due to an ongoing improvement in the numbers as vaccinations increase. This includes removing indoor caps on restaurants, stores, and personal services, as well as all outdoor gathering caps, with indoor masking and social distancing remaining in place and venues required to keep groups 6 feet apart. And most of those caps are eliminated on May 19th. And yesterday, the FDA authorized the Pfizer vaccine for adolescents aged 12 to 15, which must now go before the CDC for approval tomorrow. Governor Murphy indicated that the New Jersey Department of Health is currently finalizing guidance for parents, guardians, and practitioners, and they anticipate being able to transition to vaccinating eligible adolescents as soon as Pfizer receives its emergency use authorization this week. And here in New Jersey, the 7-day average for confirmed cases is down 29% from a week ago and 67% from a month ago. and the rate of transmission is 1.07. So it's really fantastic. All the trends are going in the right direction. More than half of New Jersey's adult population has been vaccinated. I think I mentioned in my update last week that close to 70% of Westfield residents have had their first shot, and close to 58% have had their fully vaccinated, and we get those updates on Friday, so I'll have that in my Friday COVID update. You can always find detailed information on the New Jersey COVID-19 dashboard. And just some great things happening on the local side. I do want to thank the Mental Health Council for putting together some wonderful community programming to recognize Mental Health Awareness Month. I hope you've been following the town on Instagram. It's been a kind of a Mental Health Council takeover. I'm going to actually let Councilman Hapgood elaborate on some of this stuff later, but the Cake Crumb Trail in particular, it's a free month-long self-guided tour for participants of all ages. And it reinforces Westfield being a stigma-free community. So I'll let Linda talk a little bit more, but it's really incredible. It's getting lots of buzz and great participation. And there's also a free Zoom mindfulness seminar on May 19th. So lots of great things happening with the Mental Health Council this week. It's also National Police Week this week. And I do want to extend my thanks on behalf of the council and community to our extraordinary Westfield Police Department and its Chief Battlora, for their ongoing professionalism, dedication, and commitment to community policing. As it's been a bit of a rough patch the last week or so, as the community has experienced a wave of car burglaries and thefts. We've been through these before, but our police department is doing an incredible job under very difficult and sometimes and many times dangerous circumstances. So I hope most of you have seen that there is a detailed advisory that was issued to the community about all the activity that's going on. The department is operating with enhanced patrols throughout town, most obvious, some very obvious and some less obvious ways. And they are using every tool at their disposal to address these criminal acts. We've ensured that to ask the chief if there's whatever resources he needs to make sure that we can mitigate this latest crime wave. He has it. But it is a reminder, in order, we need to displace this crime, staying vigilant, securing our cars and homes at all times. And you can read the advisory on our website. I encourage you to share it with your neighbors and find out more about what you can do and what the police are doing to help keep Westfield one of New Jersey's safest communities. And if you'd like to meet with members of the department, you don't want to miss Pizza with the Police. Am I getting this right, Chief Laura? You want to talk a little bit about it?
Yes, coming up, Pizza with the Police. If you missed the last one, you don't want to miss this one. Our great sponsor, Burham over at Out of Hand Pizza, is going to have a live band out on the sidewalk. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's I don't have the date on the tip. It's in 2 weeks.
May 20th from 4
Yes,
to
but
6.
if you missed the last one, you don't want to miss this one. It's a good party.
Yeah, it's not just a slice of pizza. It's
Correct.
like you can come and party with the police, and it's a great chance to get to know them. And I don't know, Chief, if you had anything more you wanted to add about the car burglaries or.
No, other than we are conducting enhanced patrols. We have a number of things in the works here, and we are on it like we always are.
Yeah, you are. Thank you very much. And I'm actually going to let Councilman Dardia and Parmalee address the Cannabis Commission. They're hosting a public meeting via Zoom on Thursday at 7 o'clock, and I'll let them later on talk a little bit about what's going to be happening on Thursday night and how you can participate. We also, we're doing, if you haven't hopefully tuned in, if you haven't already, but we are doing a series of Facebook Lives every month with Streetworks about various topics. They've been very popular. Last week, it was about the role of civic spaces, public spaces in civic life. The next one is on May 20th. So you go get pizza with the police, and then you come home at 7:30 and you turn on our Facebook Live panel, and you can learn all about the future of retail. And it's retail, you can't just buy it online. And it's going to take a closer look at the shifting landscape, the importance it plays in all communities, and the opportunities it presents for Westfield. So in addition to Streetworks' Richard Heaps, who's been all of this, we're also going to have DWC Executive Director Bob Zuckerman, who's also the president of Downtown New Jersey, Phil Abramson of Topology, our redevelopment planner, and Mike Byrne of MBJ Consulting, who's one of North America's leading retail experts and futurists. So please tune in. I think it'll be eye-opening and very interesting. I also remind everybody about Greta's Run. Hopefully everybody's familiar with this annual tradition. to honor the late Greta Schoenemann, who died when she was in high school in a horrific accident when a tree fell. The run will be virtual once again this year. Participants are asked to run individually anytime leading up to Sunday, May 16th, and all proceeds will benefit Imagine, the Center for Coping with Loss. So you can just go to imaginenj.org to get more information. And in just 25 days, Memorial Pool opens. And I think it looks like we're going to have a pretty normal summer. There's no wait list this year. I think guests are allowed. And the fantastic staff is ready to deliver another safe and memorable season. So please go to westfieldnj.gov/pool to sign up. On to tonight's agenda. We have a very busy night with some great initiatives. Very excitedly, we are voting on a resolution to award a contract for the 2021 road paving work, which will supplement the work schedule to be completed by the utility companies, totaling nearly 18 miles of roads this year. So you're going to see, we're going to feel it, and it's going to feel great. You can see the full list of roads through 2024 of what's planned at westfieldnj.gov/road improvement. We are also voting on a resolution to implement retroactive salary increases for 2019 and 20 as a result of the recently negotiated 5-year collective bargaining agreement with our PBA Local 90, and we're all very, very happy about that. And as I mentioned, it's National Preservation Month, so it's timely that tonight we will vote on an ordinance on second reading to historically designate 923 Central Avenue, which will be the 6th designation since I took office. I'm going to let Councilman Hapgood, who's the liaison to the Historic Preservation Commission, elaborate on it. But I can tell you it's a home built in 1757, and it's got a fascinating history and even a better story about how this win-win and designation came to be for the town. So a great homeowner, a great HBC is a really great, incredible partnership, and we saved something of significance to our community. And so while we're talking about history, this is the moment you all been waiting for. You all get to tell your little blurb about the background that is behind you. So let's see, I'm going to start with, how about Councilman Boyce?
You're on mute.
Jim.
You're on mute. You got it?
Thank you. Sorry. Behind me is Westfield's first public library building, which was erected in 1906 with funding by Andrew Carnegie. This building does still exist. You've got to look for it. It's located at the corner of East Broad and Elmer Street. And there has been some expansions done to the structure. So you'll have to do some digging, but it is still there. The library, as you know, was later moved to the municipal building, and then from there to its current location, which opened in 1988. So,
thank you. Councilman Hapgood.
Okay, so I'm going to lean this way so everyone can see the houses behind me. This is a photo of Dudley Avenue from a perspective of Elm Street, circa 1910. Dudley Park and the adjacent Kimball Avenue Historic District were developed in the late 19th and early 20th centuries for early New York City commuters, and are still considered Westfield's best preserved collection of grand turn-of-the-century homes. And the one behind that you can see most prominently in the photo behind me belongs to a former councilman.
That's very cool. Councilman Dardia.
Sure. Okay, so behind me is Lambert's Garage, circa 1914. And so cars began to replace horse-drawn carriages as the primary mode of transportation by 1910. As I indicated, this photo shows Lambert's Garage, an early service station at the corner of Central and Lenox Avenues.
Very cool. Councilman Parmalee.
Yes. So hold on one second. So behind me is you'll recognize that as the Westfield train station on the north side. The Westfield train stations on both North and South Avenue were erected in 1892 and are outstanding examples of the Richardsonian Romanesque style and they're both listed on the state and national historic registers.
Very cool. Councilman LaGrippo? Yeah, you're on mute. There you go.
Oh, sorry. Yes, this is the corner of Park and Summit. I didn't give a year, but it looks like probably the early 1900s. You can't really make it out with my big head in the way, but it was pretty cool. There's a trolley that ran down Summit Avenue, and I honestly didn't know we had a trolley that ran. I know we had one that ran down Boynton Avenue, but there was a trolley that ran down Summit Avenue as well. So pretty cool.
Very cool. Councilman Contract?
Can I just add one thing? So the island is where the trolley did the turnaround at the corner of Summit and Park. So that's exactly where the trolley turned around to head back to downtown. So I'm going to move out of the way here. This is Stoneleigh Park, circa 1906, one of Westfield's most picturesque neighborhoods. Stoneleigh Park was developed beginning in 1900 and is still home to many outstanding examples of shingle style, colonial revival, and Tudor revival architecture. It was listed on the state and national registers of historic places in 1988. And the house that's shown was the clubhouse for Stoneleigh, and it still exists, although it's now blue or gray. And the trees have filled in quite a lot. It doesn't look anything like this now, which is wonderful.
And I think Councilwoman Hapgood is filling in for Councilwoman Mackey, who is having background issues. So
Yes.
Linda.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to lean over this way. This is McKinley Elementary School, which was built on First Street in 1909 and is Westfield's oldest surviving elementary school. Earlier schools, including Columbus, Grant, and Washington School, were torn down many years ago as they became obsolete or as the school population waned.
Very cool. Councilman Katz?
So this is the Westfield Casino from the late 1890s. I don't know if you guys can see it. The casino was the center of the Westfield recreation at the turn of the century. The large Victorian clubhouse was built on Elm Street in 1892 and offered bowling, billiards, tennis, and a movie theater. It was unfortunately destroyed by fire in 1911.
Yeah, that is a travesty. Chief Bataloro.
Behind me is the Mindawaskin Park Overlook. Mindawaskin Park was dedicated in 1918 on the site of former Clark's Pond and is often considered the gateway to the town of Westfield. Since 1954, the Westfield Police Department has been fortunate enough to look out onto this oasis, in particular my office. The entire park is designated as a local historic landmark.
Very cool. Chief Tiller.
All right, behind me is Fire Headquarters. The Westfield Fire Headquarters was built on North Avenue in 1911 and is listed on the state and national registers of historic places. With its bell tower and tile roof, it is the town's finest example of Italian Renaissance revival architecture.
And if anyone tuned into our Facebook Live yesterday, if you move over, you see the horse and buggy back there. And Chief Tiller was talking about why it's time for a new firehouse. There you go.
Hey, Chief, where were the horses kept? Were they kept inside the firehouse?
No, actually the stable was out back. So when they went on a call, when they came back, they actually used to walk down the alleyway between where the Jolly Trolley used to be in the firehouse and take the horses around back.
Got it.
Not crazy. Okay, Town Attorney Tom Jardine, former mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I get the great honor of talking about something that's probably familiar to all of us, our great Rialto Theater. And actually, the Rialto isn't our first theater in town. The first theater was called the Westfield Theater, built in 1912 at 114 Elm Street, which is just about across from Adams Tavern. But the Rialto was built in 1922. And it was one of our great movie palaces, and its iconic marquee still remains one of the town's most identifiable features.
Thank you. All right, Tara Rowley.
Behind me is Arcanum Hall, which was built in the Queen Anne style in 1892 remains at the heart of downtown and recently underwent a facelift with the help of the Downtown Westfield Corporation.
And lastly, Jim Gilday.
Thank you. Again, I'll get out of the way here. Great picture of our downtown circa 1906. Notice the above ground wires and the trolley tracks downtown. So the Central Business District has been the center of Westfield since its founding in 1720, but saw its greatest development after the arrival of the railroad. As the town's population doubled in the first decades of the 20th century, the downtown flourished as it still remains many of the commercial buildings still remain and storefronts built before 1915. And again, it's just amazing to see, you know, the above ground wires, trolley tracks, and some of the same buildings we see today. So,
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being game for that. That was fun. And so we can, with that, move on to the evening's business. I have two proclamations I'll be reading tonight, one recognizing Lyme Disease Awareness Month and another recognizing the amazing work of our vulnerable populations work group in vaccinating underserved populations. So I want to remind everybody that I will once again be enforcing Robert's rules this evening to make sure we stay on topic and the meeting runs efficiently. So I think, bear with me, I have all these different things open on my screen. Let's find, here we go. Okay, so with that, I think, do we have any appointments, Mr. Valley? I think we do.
Yes,
So
you have an appointment to the Recreation Commission?
Yep, and I would like to make a motion to appoint Roselle Chong, who is replacing Brad Rothenberg, who recently relocated to his unexpired term ending December 31st, 2023. May I have a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? This motion is carried, and I welcome Roselle Chong, and I think she might be on the call. So
She is,
congratulations.
yes. Yep.
Congratulations,
Roselle.
Roselle. We're thrilled. Thank you for stepping up and being willing to serve. And then we have two proclamations. I will read the first one. It is Lyme Disease Awareness Month. A resident had specifically reached out and asked if we would do that. And we all have seen deer season and deers everywhere. And I think we also want to bring awareness to you know, the Lyme disease that they can carry and how careful we need to be. So whereas Lyme disease is the most commonly reported tick-borne disease in the United States, accounting for over 80% of all tick-borne illness. And whereas Lyme disease is spread to people by the bite of an infected tick, immature ticks become infected by feeding on small infected mammals such as white-footed mice. Once infected, the tick can then spread the disease to humans through its bite, and Lyme disease is not spread person to person. And whereas approximately 476,000 people in the United States are diagnosed with and treated annually for Lyme disease in the US, including approximately 4,000 in New Jersey alone. Yet it is known that Lyme disease is an underreported illness, and therefore the actual number of people with Lyme disease in New Jersey is likely much higher. And whereas Lyme disease is a complex multi-system illness caused by bacteria, which if caught early can be treated easily with antibiotics, but if left untreated can invade the nervous system, brain, heart, and multiple organs of the body, causing years of pain, suffering, severe disability, and even death. And whereas ticks that carry Lyme disease can carry several other pathogens and occasional co-infections have been reported. And whereas while the risk of contracting a tick-borne illness can be year-round, the nymphal ticks, which are the size of a poppy seed, are most active in the spring and summer months. And whereas people can reduce the risk of contracting Lyme disease by avoiding wooded areas with dense shrubs and leaf litter where ticks like to hide, making their yards less attractive to ticks by keeping their lawns mowed, using safe insect repellent on themselves and their pets to keep ticks from attaching to skin, and frequently checking themselves and especially children when in common tick-infested areas. And whereas if a tick is found attached to their skin, people should remove it as soon as possible and disinfect the bite area. Proper removal of a tick within 48 hours of being bitten can reduce the risk of infection. And whereas people need to be aware of the early symptoms of Lyme disease, a rash that looks like a bullseye, tiredness, fever, headache, stiff neck, muscle aches, joint pain, because when treated early, antibiotic therapy for 3 to 4 weeks is generally effective. And whereas to avoid the potentially serious long-term serious health effects, it is essential to educate the community about preventative steps to avoid contracting Lyme disease as well as the effectiveness of early treatment should they inadvertently contract the disease. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Mayor Shelley Brindle, do hereby proclaim May 2021 as Lyme Disease Awareness Month in the town of Westfield. And in doing so, I encourage all community members to take advantage of the comprehensive resources available from the New Jersey Department of Health and from LymeDisease.org, one of the oldest Lyme disease advocacy organizations in the country, to help spread Lyme disease awareness and prevention education. So thank you for bringing this to our attention. I know I'm not alone when I say I know more than one person that has suffered from Lyme disease, some much more serious than others. So please be aware. And the next proclamation I'm reading, and I think I really want to give, I don't know if Ellen Shelley is on the phone, but we had an incredible effort behind a significant effort of a group that got together to vaccinate our underserved population. And I want to talk, and hopefully we can talk a little bit about it and acknowledge how critical it is. I think I saw Anisha on the call too. Is Anisha Qualis here? Because she was really instrumental in organizing, as was Dr. Pam Brooks. There was a big group that really worked on this. So whereas on March 11, 2020, COVID-19 was declared a worldwide pandemic by the World Health Organization. And whereas on December 11, 2021, US FDA issued its first emergency use authorization for a COVID-19 vaccine. And on December 14, 2020, the New Jersey Department of Health implemented comprehensive vaccine education and prioritization plan. And whereas initially, in order to receive the vaccine, appointments at designated vaccination sites were required. And because demand was so high, they were very difficult to secure. And whereas in early February of 2021, a vulnerable populations work group was formed to engage community members in helping to identify vulnerable persons who may need assistance with obtaining COVID-19 vaccination and to provide education to those who may have questions about the vaccine. And whereas meetings were held in February and March to identify the areas to focus on to encourage and assist with vaccination registration. And whereas 2 education webinars, one sponsored by Lifelong Westfield and one by the Westfield Regional Board of Health, were held to advise and answer questions about vaccine development, hesitancy, side effects, and the importance of vaccination to help protect those most vulnerable to COVID-19. And whereas a drive-by registration effort was coordinated by the Westfield Neighborhood Council, which registered several residents who were then able to receive the COVID-19 vaccination. And whereas in working with our county partners, the Vulnerable Populations Work Group was able to hold a COVID-19 vaccination pop-up site on March 26, 2021 in the community room of the Westfield Municipal Building. In order to do so, members of the group worked tirelessly within a short 48-hour time frame to identify our African-American, Hispanic, senior, and handicapped neighbors who may have wanted the vaccine but were unable to secure an appointment. The group's outreach was very successful. Approximately 200 persons using all of the shots they had that day were vaccinated at the pop-up clinic. And whereas for those vulnerable residents without transportation to the pop-up site, members of the Westfield Police Department provided round-trip transportation. And whereas the members of Vulnerable Populations Work Group are deserving of our recognition and appreciate for their compassionate and successful endeavor. Megan Avalone, the Regional Health Director of the Westfield Regional Health Department, Dr. Ellen Shelley, Vulnerable Populations Coordinator for the Health Department, Lauren Harmer, Recreation Program and Events Specialist for the town, Westfield Police Chief Chris Badalora, and the selfless volunteers, Dr. Pamela Brugge, Brad Shinani, Deirdre Jolene, Bertina Graves, Sylvia Hicks, Carol Mercer, Joyce Allen Pretlow, Aisha Qualis, Velvet Rogers, Dr. Elizabeth Talmott, and Elizabeth Wolf. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Shelley Brindle, Mayor of the town of Westfield, do hereby acknowledge the extraordinary efforts of the Vulnerable Populations Work Group and thank them for all they have done to ensure the health and welfare of our residents most in need. It was really incredible. And I don't know, Aisha or Ellen, do you guys want to say anything and talk about the, I know Lauren, I think, you guys raise your hand. You don't have to, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you want to make any comments.
I'll promote it to the panelists and say, yeah, there's Aisha.
Okay.
I just want to thank everyone for giving us the opportunity to be able to join you guys with this initiative. It took the whole community. So thank you so much for honoring us. And we are so happy that we just put a little dent in those who were able to get vaccinated. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol. It was a great effort. And I don't know, Ellen, maybe if you'll talk about like how we got Ellen, how fortunate we are. I think a lot of people don't even recognize what this resource we have. Ellen, do you want to say anything?
Sure. We identified members of the community through some of the Board of Health people, and we started from there, and we started reaching out to different individuals. And this group has just been fabulous in making connections and inroads and really helping a lot of people who weren't aware of being able to get vaccinations and needed help with registering for vaccinations.
And didn't you guys also do that? You signed up, looked for people at the laundromat too, right? In terms of trying to find people, like you were going where they were, right?
Yeah.
To find them and get them registered and come out. It was an incredible effort, and probably a model now for what's going to need to happen across the country to get us to, push a little bit further in terms of increasing our vaccination rates. So,
Yes.
so thank you so much. And I do want to call out Lauren from the rec department. I mean, Lauren's title from the recreation department doesn't do her justice. So the level of service that she provides for our seniors and everybody else, I mean, I can't say enough about how she's just always pitching in, and obviously Dr. Pam Brugge and everything that she did. So it was a great effort.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor,
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Mayor, can I add one anecdote, which
Sure.
I think is really telling? So I participated in the vaccination registration drive at the laundromat, and Dr. Brugge and I went over to the car wash, right, next to Bohemian Raspberry. And what was really interesting is a lot of the workers were scared initially when we came, because, if you think about their immigration status and, we have government associated with us, but the health department reached back out with a Spanish speaking educator to talk to the folks in Spanish, to reassure them this wasn't part of, INS, this was part of getting them vaccinated for health. And then the car wash actually called me a few weeks later for somebody had a question, and I don't speak Spanish. And I reached out to Megan Avalone, and she assured me a Spanish speaking person would follow up with that person who works there. And that's what it takes to get everybody vaccinated, is that individual attention. So Dr. Shelley, just please thank you for everything you've done, and everybody else. We got to do this one person at a time.
Yes.
So thank you all. Happy to recognize you.
Thank you.
Stay well, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thanks.
So moving on, Mrs. Rowley, do we have any advertised hearings?
Yes, there's an advertised hearing for general ordinance number 2214, an ordinance designating 923 Central Avenue, shown on the town tax maps as block 4813, lot 32, as a historic landmark, and modifying the zoning map. Anyone wishing to be heard on general ordinance number 2214, please virtually raise your hand to make your comment. Be sure to include your name and address for the record.
Seeing none, Mayor, you may close the hearing.
This hearing is closed. Councilman Parmalee, please move for the adoption of general ordinance number 2214.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move for the adoption of General Ordinance number 2214 on second reading, an ordinance designating 923 Central Ave, shown on the town tax maps as block 4813, lot 32, as a historic landmark, and modifying the zoning map.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Councilman Hapgood, did you want to comment? Yeah.
Yes, I would. Thank you. This is a big night, one that marks a lot of intentional effort on the part of the planning board and the Historic Preservation Commission and this council, and the homeowner, Kenneth Abram, who initially came to the planning board with the intention to tear down the home, not appreciating any of its historic value or had any idea how old it was. He just thought it was an old house. And so the planning board started asking some questions. The original idea was to tear down the house and put up two new homes very close together. By the end of it, and many months and many efforts, the Planning Board and Historic Preservation Commission members, including myself, went out to the site and helped Mr. Abraham to understand the history of the home. We got a chance to go up in the rafters and see the peg and the old construction of the home. It was fascinating, and he also became fascinated by it. And so the planning board did some work to subdivide the property in a very unusual way that enables the preservation of the old home, which the owner plans to completely renovate and refurbish. And then he is building a home on what we call a flag lot, which is not generally encouraged, but the planning board had the foresight to appreciate in this case that something like this should be done. So there's going to be a new home built, but built in a style very appropriate and very complementary to the historic home that will continue to sit there today. So I just wanted to thank Mr. Abraham first for his willingness to go through a very long process with us to designate his home and to build something adjacent to it that's going to really complement it. I can't wait to see what the new home, what the old home fully renovated looks like. And I'll just, for everyone's benefit, since we're going over a lot of history tonight, I just wanted to give a little bit more history about the home that's being preserved this evening. The home 923 Central was built circa 1757 and is believed to be Cornelius Ledlam Jr.'s homestead, which was built adjacent to the farm owned by his father, Cornelius Ledlam Sr. And according to the Historic Preservation Commission in Westfield, the vernacular farmhouse reflects the simple construction of homes typical of the Revolutionary period. The house is shown on the dot map of Revolutionary homes that was completed by Union County and local historians in the late 1960s. Although modified over the years, the central section of the home still displays original construction with peg and beam rafters and carpenter marks. This designation, as I mentioned, is a great example of the homeowner being open-minded and open to learning the history of the home, and why we want to encourage all people in town to have conversations about their homes before we get into a process of contemplating demolition. So I'd like again to thank the HPC and the Planning Board for their ongoing dedication to prioritizing voluntary designation and their passion for preserving these important pieces of Westfield's history.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Rowley, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Hapgood,
Yes.
Councilman Parmalee,
Yes.
Councilman LaGrippo,
Yes.
Councilman Katz,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mackey,
Yes.
Councilman Contract,
Yes.
Councilman Dardia,
Yes.
Councilman Boyce,
Yes.
Mayor Brindle.
Yes, this motion is carried. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the Town Council Conference and regular meetings of April 20, 2021?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? This motion is carried. Do we have any petitions or communications?
No, Mayor, we do not.
Now it's time for open discussion by citizens. Please virtually raise your hand to make your comment on any subject on which this council's jurisdiction, and be sure to state your name and address for the record.
We have first speaker, Hugh Giordano. Hugh, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead. Name and address, please.
Yes, Hugh Giordano, 57 Argyle Avenue, Blackwood, New Jersey. Council and Mayor, I'm coming to you tonight as a representative of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, UFCW, Local 152, in regards to the cannabis conversation. I know that you're having another conversation coming up on Thursday, I believe. I'm having a scheduling conflict. I'm all over the place. So I wanted to have an opportunity. I missed your last conversation and I apologize. So I wanted to have an opportunity to put some stuff on public record. The UFCW is the official labor union which represents cannabis workers from seed to sale, both medical and adult use. And in New Jersey, we're also working with the building trades as well for the retrofit and build out of these facilities. So from shovel to sale, they're going to be unionized jobs. On top of that, we have the best labor laws in the country when it comes to cannabis. The governor did a great job. Senate president and the president of the House did a great job. Assembly, as far as protecting workers' rights and making sure that they're going to be good living wage jobs with benefits, sick time, vacation time, paternity leave, retirement, and just good working standards. We're working on an apprenticeship program as well. And the building trades, as I know, is putting more effort into that as well to deal with the new technology that's coming out. So it's going to create great jobs. I want to let you know that the people that work at these facilities are also educated. A lot of them have 4-year degrees or more, horticulture, botany, chemistry. They have pharmacists that work at the medical dispensaries right now today. So these are great paying, educated jobs. One of the things I would suggest is to look at the city of Bayonne's ordinance, and I share that with Councilman Parmalee, who is excellent. I got to say, very professional and aggressive at getting information. I'm really glad that people voted for you. You put effort in. So,
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's not a problem. The city of Bayonne actually did a lot of in-depth research and passed a great merit-based ordinance. So you have full control of who comes in. You can look at their environmental standards, security, community engagement, labor standards, especially for the big guys that are multi-state operators. They claim to be, they're going to create good jobs, but if they're fighting labor in other states, I don't know how that can be, right? So things like that matter, and we hope that you'll look into that. And also, if you want a tour of a dispensary, the Garden State Dispensary was one of the first 6 original under the Chris Christie administration, and they were the first to go union, and they're one of the most open, transparent cultivation and dispensary sites in the state. I've given other council and mayor groups a tour there, and you can see it for yourself. You can see who works there, and you can actually see how the operations work and kind of make a better decision on what you want and how you want to do it. So once again, I appreciate it. Thank you for not jumping the gun. I know that NJ League of Municipalities is pushing a ban all over the place, which is odd. But
sorry, Mr. Giordano, sorry, Mayor, typically for residents who don't live in town, you give them 3 minutes, and Mr. Giordano.
Okay,
thank you for reminding. Thank you, Mr. Giordano. Okay, thanks
you.
for that reminder, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Giordano. We have Kelly Kessler. Are you still there? Let me see. Kelly, are you there? Kelly?
Unmute. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah.
Your address, please.
All right. Well, this makes me really happy. I mean, Jim, you know how long I've been on the commission, and it's been way too long. And as the former chair of HPC, then vice chair, now happily stepping down to a regular member, you guys did a wonderful job in celebrating the incredible historic downtown that we have, that is downtown Westfield. It is the crown jewel of Westfield, and it has been. And Jim, you grew up here, you know that as well as I do. And your celebration of this speaks volumes to me in terms of what a priority it is for you to be, have these historic buildings behind you. And I know it has to be an incredible priority that you want to protect what we have there. And I think I'm seeing that, and I think, that will go forward. In terms of 923 Central, I really think that that happened before our new ordinance was passed, but it really was a test case in terms of the piece of our ordinance, the demolition piece of our ordinance rather, and how it could really work. And this is before our new ordinance passed, but even after, it was really just to open up a conversation. And this is really a very good example of how that could work so well. And I think what people in Westfield were really upset about, and rightfully so, is they got like 3 days notice. I could be off, but 3 days, and the house next door would get torn down and the lot would get clear cut, and they were upset, and they should be upset. And this is just such a good like way of like opening up communication, really, enabling a conversation between the builders and the commission. And I just want to say that I'm really proud of this administration for letting that happen. It was a really important thing to happen. We didn't even have our new ordinance passed for 1923 Central when it happened. I happened to be out of town. I wasn't able to meet with that guy, but I know the story, and it's a good story. And you know what? Communication is huge. And so I kudos to you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Kelly. Anyone else like to be heard? Anyone else? Maria Boyes, go ahead. Hello, Maria.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, address?
122 Ferris Place.
Thanks.
So I too just wanted to thank and acknowledge this administration for the support it's shown towards historic preservation. The success of the HVC can only be possible by the openness and courage of this council. And I think it was best highlighted in the letter by Mrs. Goldstein, who recently designated her home on Prospect Avenue. And she stated she had reached out in prior years to have her home designated, but her call was never followed up on. So I just want to say thank you. I also want to draw attention to our recently revised design guidelines, which can be found on the HPC page of the town website. Architects and builders have already commented on how helpful they are. And I appreciate Westfield's council members and mayor keeping an eye on the past while looking forward to the future. Thank you.
Maria.
Great, thanks, Maria. Anyone else like to be heard? Seeing none, Mayor, you may close the public portion.
I close this portion of the meeting. Just a couple of comments. Mr. Giordano, I think Councilman Parmalee and Darty I think we'll speak a little bit about the Cannabis Commission and what's happening on Thursday, so you can address that later. And just thanks to Kelly and Maria on their leadership on historic preservation. And I think the one comment that Kelly made is worth noting. If the guy that owned 923 Central did not have to go in front of the planning board for a variance, that house would have been demolished. The only reason we saved it because he happened to have to go in front of the planning board. Now we have an ordinance that would require him to at least have the conversation, but that we were one meeting away from that house being gone. And so I think to Kelly's point, the ordinance that we have would at least force the conversation to give us an opportunity to come up with some creative solutions like what happened here. So anyway, win-win for everybody. Obviously, we're pretty happy about it. So I close this and let's move on to bills and claims. Councilman Hapgood.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move bills and claims in the amount of $565,268.97.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? This motion is carried. Next on the agenda is reports of standing committees, beginning with the Finance Policy Committee. Councilman Hapgood.
Thank you again, Mayor. I have 16 resolutions tonight that I'd like to move as a package. One, a resolution authorizing the CFO to draw a warrant for dog licenses for April 2021. A resolution authorizing the CFO to refund Recreation Department fees. 3, a resolution authorizing the CFO to draw a warrant to refund tree preservation cash bond. 4, a resolution authorizing the CFO to refund dumpster security payment. Number 5, a resolution authorizing the CFO to draw a warrant for food application refund. 6, a resolution authorizing the CFO to sign bi-weekly warrants for PBA employee salaries effective January 1st, 2019. 7, a resolution authorizing the CFO to sign bi-weekly warrants for PBA employee salaries effective January 1st, 2020. 8, a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement with the Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council to renew membership. 9, a resolution to award a contract for redevelopment bond council services. Number 10, a resolution authorizing submission of an application for project entitled New Jersey Library Construction Bond Act. And then I'd like to just note before I go through 11 through 15, that there's nothing that makes the Finance Policy Committee happier that when we have resolutions authorizing submission for new line items and for revenue in the municipal budget. So here we go. Resolution to approve insertion of a special line item of revenue in the municipal budget. A resolution to approve insertion of a special line of revenue in the municipal budget for a public health capacity grant. A resolution to approve insertion of a special line item of revenue in the municipal budget for body armor. A resolution to approve insertion of a special item of revenue in the municipal budget for the drunk driving enforcement fund. And a resolution to approve insertion of a special item of revenue in the municipal budget for the COVID-19 vaccination grant. And then the final resolution, number 16, is a resolution authorizing the CFO to draw a warrant to refund the street opening cash bond, which means that we can start repaving roads.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? This motion is carried. So next is the Code Review and Town Property Committee, Councilman Parmalee.
All right, thanks, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an amended agreement with Fair Share Housing Center.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
May, I'll be voting no. As you've stated in the past, you were happy with the previous fair share housing agreement. So me personally, I'm not comfortable with increasing the density at the Williams Nursery facility. So I'll be voting no.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? This motion is carried. Last is the Public Works Committee, Councilman Contract.
Thanks, Mayor. I have three resolutions to move as a package. The first is a resolution for the final acceptance for the 2020 improvement of Scotch Plains Avenue, or the repaving. The second is a resolution authorizing change order number 1 for 2021 miscellaneous ADA ramp and drainage improvements. And the third, and very exciting, a resolution to award a contract for 2021 various road improvements, which is our paving efforts for this year.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? This motion has carried. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Hey, Mayor.
So moved.
Mayor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm
Yep.
sorry. Councilman Parmalee, thank you. And Dardia from Doc Cannabis. Thank you.
Just, I'm sorry to interrupt, and believe me,
No.
I'm the first to vote for the motion to adjourn. But I did want to just, if we have just a few minutes, just to give a
Yeah.
quick update on the Cannabis Commission and the meeting, the public meeting that we have coming up this Thursday. Just to give everyone kind of a summary of what the meeting's about, what the commission's considering. Ultimately, it's a decision whether to opt in or opt out. And the basic decision is, under the law, towns have 180 days, and that's until August 21st of 2021, to either prohibit outright or limit the number of establishments, distributors of delivery services, the location, manner, and times of operation, and establish civil penalties for violations of certain ordinances. And as we set forth in the website, once a municipality opts in, that decision remains in effect for 5 years. And if a municipality opts out, Westfield opts out, we can always thereafter opt in at any time. There's no limitation. And it's not just limited to retail operations. There's 6 different classes of licenses that the state is issuing: a cultivator's license, manufacturer, wholesale, distributor, retail, and delivery. So there's a variety of different things to consider. So in addition to me and Councilman Dardia, the commission's composed of 14 additional people, residents and town employees. And of those 14, excluding me and Dardia, only 1 is elected, and all of them have volunteered to take their time to make a thoughtful and a considered recommendation to the council. And importantly, part of the commission's goal, we've met a few times already, and the part of the goal is to incorporate public input into the recommendations. And we feel it's really important to hear from residents And we recognize the conflict between one thing, the responses to the master plan questionnaire, where in 2018, a majority of the residents or respondents preferred no cannabis retailers within the town. And you contrast that with Westfield's support in favor of legalizing cannabis in November of 2020, which at 69% was actually 2 points exceeding the state average in favor of the legalization, which was roughly around 67%. So we're trying to go about this two different ways. This coming Thursday, we've got a public input meeting. The commission's going to host a public input meeting via Zoom beginning at 7 o'clock. The meeting will also be streamed via Facebook Live, but all those who wish to speak have to join via Zoom. And if you go to the main town webpage and search cannabis, it's pretty easy to find the link. And then we're also accepting emails. So for those who can't attend on Thursday, comments may also be submitted via email through May 20th. And the email address is cannabiscomments, that's one word, at westfieldnj.gov. And the email address will be open basically for almost a full 2 weeks, which should give everyone in town a chance to share their opinion. And I can say that we've already had several responses so far. And so, and the other thing I do want to point out is what the meeting's not about. Importantly, there's no current proposal for permitting a dispensary downtown or anywhere else in Westfield. The whole concept and the only thing that we're considering right now is whether or not to opt in or opt out generally. The meeting's not about the appropriateness of legalizing cannabis in the first place, or the already passed law on the statewide level. And it's also not about keeping cannabis out of Westfield. One thing that's important that I think residents need to know is that the state law does not permit municipalities to restrict or prohibit delivery services. And so irrespective of the town's decision to opt in or opt out, delivery must be permitted within Westfield under state law. And also I'd point out that one of our closest neighbors, Scotch Plains, among some others, have already opted in both on Route 22 and then also on Plainfield Avenue, a section of Plainfield Avenue. So I look forward to hearing everybody's comments. Hopefully most of or all of the commission's going to be able to be there to listen to it. And we're also looking forward to reviewing the comments that come in via email.
Thank you, Councilman, and thank you for clarifying that, because I've gotten some comments or questions I think those have oversimplified what it is you guys are tasked with doing, and as if it's a decision, are we going to allow retail dispensary or are we not, as if one is already being considered. But it's much more nuanced and layered and complex than that. And we're just trying to be very thoughtful to make sure we've considered everything and consulted with everyone before we make a deliberate and affirmative decision going forward. So thank you for that clarification. And with that,
Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just want to make one quick announcement.
Yeah.
It is May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and you mentioned in your comments at the beginning of the meeting that one of the things that the Westfield Mental Health Council is sponsoring this month is what we're calling the Cake Crumb Trail. Cake, as I hope most people in town are starting to appreciate, stands for compassion, acceptance, kindness, and empathy. And so I hope that people will take some time to take some time to follow the trail. You can pick up a brochure that walks you through the various cake crumb stops, either at the police station, in the vestibule, or at the fire station. Yes, the historic one behind the chief tonight, or you can find the same brochure on the town website. There's also an Instagram story that's going on throughout the month. So check out the posts on the Town of Westfield's Instagram account. And there are also participating store owners and business owners in town. So when you see the cake emblem, on the storefront of businesses in town, make sure to go in, talk about cake, and most of them have prizes to hand out to everyone. So have a good time with that. A week from Saturday, a whole bunch of the Westfield Mental Health Council members are going to be meeting at the farmer's market, and then spending time spreading the good news of cake around town. And I also wanted to mention that there are going to be t-shirts on sale at the Westfield Farmers Market to raise money for the Mental Health Council in the state of New Jersey. So thank you all.
Thank you,
and
Linda.
Thank you for your patience.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. They've done an incredible job this month, really. It's so great to see. So anybody else?
Just real quick, I know Councilman Doherty had a public safety meeting last week. Just curious, was anything addressed about the increased car burglaries and people heading into homes and getting the keys, the fobs? So just wondering, any updates as far as buying increased technology or anything around that?
I'll let the chief probably would be better to address that. Chief Aguilar, do you have any?
Well, as I know we've previously discussed, our internal discussions have always included the feasibility and practicality of license plate readers, and it is something that is under consideration. We've met with vendors, and we'll make a determination with regards to a recommendation to the council at some point in the near future. But in the interim, LPRs, cameras, they're not going to in and of itself solve the present problem that we are experiencing. So I don't want you to think that just because we spend what will likely be hundreds of thousands of dollars if you choose to do so, there's no guarantee, nor is there any strong likelihood that it in and of itself will eliminate automobile thefts. So this is a chronic suburban New Jersey problem. It's not just Westfield, it's all of northern New Jersey. And it's not a problem that's going away anytime soon. But we will make a recommendation at some point in the future, but it in and of itself will not eliminate this problem.
Yeah, I agree with you, but thank you, for the option of looking at additional technologies that might be available out there.
And Chief, thank you very much for all the time and effort you put into putting the bulletin together. Making sure that everyone in town is advised and informed of what's going on. I know a lot of us on the council took the opportunity to send it out personally to as many people as we could, and it's been publicized well. And in addition, I know the neighbors up on Hillside really appreciated the time that you took, several hours, to address questions that they had and make sure that people knew what was going on. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'm always willing to meet with residents. As a matter of fact, I believe I have one tomorrow night and again, one next week. So, my door is always open to speak with residents in groups or individually. So I am here. I understand the problem. We are working hard. And as I said earlier tonight, we are on it.
Great.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so now may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is carried and this meeting is adjourned. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Aye.
Everyone.
Good night,
Take care.
everyone.
No.